Freewell versus Telesin versus SmallRig versus KNF filters for the brand new DJI Action 6. Let's see which one of these filter set options is going to be the best for you. However, before I start, I do want to mention that all of these filters were sent to me for free in exchange of making this video. So the Freewell set option in here is by far the most expensive one at $50, and you can get this set with the normal ND set from ND8 to ND64, or you can also choose the ND8 PL to ND64 PL for the same price. Additionally, Freewell offers separate creative filter options at $20 each, like the ND1000, LPR, Glow Mist Quarter, and CPL filters, or you can buy this entire mega set for $150. Next, the Telesin set is $37, and it includes a VND 1 to 5 stops, a UV filter, and also a CPL filter. However, Telesin also offers a different set option with normal stops of ND for the same price as this. Link is going to be down below. Then the SmallRig set is $33. It includes a CPL filter, ND8, ND16, and ND32, and also a protective lens cap for your Action 6. And finally, the KNF filter set is $40, and it includes an ND8, ND16, ND32, and ND64. But if you're going to use the 20% off discount code ROMA at checkout on the official KNF website, you will be able to reduce the price from $40 to only $32 for this entire KNF set. And of course, links to everything I've mentioned in this video are going to be down below. Right, now let me highlight a couple of important differences between these filters in here. So first of all, as you can see, the Telesin filter set has different case than the other filters. It's basically just the box it comes with. It's a bit hard to open. A case like this is going to be much better because you can quickly, close it, open it, take out the filter you need. There's also significantly slimmer, which is going to be a bit easier to travel with. Next, the CPL filters from SmallRig and Telesin do not have a spinning ring here on top, whereas the Freewell one does. And because of this, when you're going to put the SmallRig or Telesin filters on the camera, it's going to be a bit hard to adjust the polarization compared to the Freewell filter, which has a ring in front, and it makes it much easier to adjust the polarization effect you need. And in terms of build quality, all of these filters feel almost identical. Maybe the Freewell is slightly higher build quality, but honestly, all of these filters in here feel extremely high quality and premium. Now, here is how they compare in terms of overall weight. Here is the SmallRig filter, 7.87 grams. Telesin CPL, 7.5 grams. Telesin VND 1 to 5, 13.3 grams. Freewell ND, 4.6 grams. Freewell NDPL, 5.6 grams. And finally, KNF filter, 6.3 grams. But a very important thing to consider is that the way you mount the KNF filter is very different compared to all the other filters, because the other filters use the push-on mounting design where you just put the filter, push it in onto the lens, basically, and it's going to stay very securely on the lens. Then if you want to change a filter, push it out, pull it out, sorry, push new one in. Whereas with the KNF filter, you have to physically unscrew the built-in lens and then screw in the actual filter. Now, this design is definitely the best option if you want to save as much weight as possible. So maybe if you're flying FPV drones, go with the KNF option if you want to reduce the weight to the bare minimum, if you will. But at the same time, you have to consider that it takes significantly longer to swap filters with this system, because you have to unscrew the filter and then basically screw new one in. Whereas with the other filters, you just take the filter, push it in, and if you want to replace it, you pull it out, just push new one in. It is significantly quicker than using the KNF screwing system, if you will. Right, now let's talk about the image quality. I want to show you a couple of comparisons on my computer so you can see exactly how these filters compare to each other. So let's start with this. Here is a bare length shot in the left, and then Telesin one stop on the right. As you can see, there is a big difference between these shots. And by the way, I used the same settings on both of these shots, same white balance, same everything, and no color grading was done in post-production. I just applied a lot, and that's basically it. Here is the SmallRig ND8. Looks very clean. Here's the Freewell ND8. Also looks very clean. Freewell ND8PL looks significantly warmer. And here is the KNF ND8, also looks super clean. Here is Telesin at 3 stops of ND, looks significantly warmer and greener, and also there is some vignetting going on in here. Here is SmallRig ND16, looks super clean. Here is Freewell ND16, also looks pretty clean. Here is Freewell ND16PL, looks significantly warmer with some vignetting in here, but not as bad as with the Telesin filter. Here is KNF ND16, also looks pretty clean to me. Now here is Telesin at 5 stops of ND, looks pretty bad, especially with the vignetting in here and the warm color shift. This is going to be very hard to fix in post-production. Here's the SmallRig ND32, looks pretty clean to me. Freewell ND32, also looks pretty clean. Freewell ND32PL, looks pretty warm with some vignetting in here. And here is the KNF ND32, looks also really clean to me. Now here is ND64 from Freewell, looks pretty good to me, not too bad. A bit warm, but not terrible. Here is ND64PL. There is some vignetting in here going on, but honestly, the color shift is not that drastic. And here is KNF ND64, looks extremely clean to me. Here is a different shot, if you will. Telesin at 1 stop. Pretty warm and green. SmallRig. Freewell, pretty clean. ND8PL from Freewell. Looks pretty green and warm. And then this is KNF at ND8. Looks pretty good to me. Here is 3 stops of ND on the VND125 Telesin. Here is SmallRig. Looks pretty clean to me. Here is Freewell. Also clean. Freewell ND16PL looks pretty warm, green with some vignetting. And this is the KNF ND16. Here's the Telesin at 5 stops. Heavy vignetting, heavy color shift. It's going to be, again, very hard to fix something like this. Here's a SmallRig. Looks pretty clean to me. A bit more blue than this, but not too bad. Here is a Freewell ND32. The lighting in here is a bit different, so take that into consideration because as you can see, it's not as sunny in here compared to this shot. Here is the Freewell ND32PL. Looks pretty warm and green with some heavy vignetting as well. And here's the KNF ND32. And here is the ND64 Freewell. Here's the Freewell ND64PL. This one looks pretty bad if I'm honest. The color difference between this and this is huge. And here is the KNF ND64. Now here is how all of these filters compare side by side. Telesin, SmallRig, Freewell, and KNF. All of these filters look incredible. This one is a bit too warm for my liking. Here is ND16 and 3 stops on the Telesin. Now here is Telesin at 5 stops. As you can see, heavy vignetting going on in here, which is very distracting. And then the other filters are pretty clean. SmallRig again looks the cleanest, if you will. And then here is ND64 from Freewell and ND64 from KNF. And now here is how the NDPL filters perform from Freewell. As you can see now, it is somewhat similar to the Telesin VND, but with less vignetting than the Telesin VND. It still looks a bit better. The Freewell NDPL looks better than the Telesin VND to me. Here is NDPL 16. Here is ND32PL from Freewell. Still looks better than the Telesin. The vignetting in here is very distracting. And here is ND64PL. There is some vignetting going on in here, but it is not as bad as the vignetting from the Telesin VND. Now here is how the CPL filters perform with the Telesin, Freewell, and SmallRig. This is the bare length of the camera. Honestly, I cannot really notice a significant difference between these 3 shots in here. They look almost identical to me. Here's another example. Telesin, Freewell, and SmallRig. They look almost identical to me. not a huge difference, honestly. And finally, I just want to show you how the Glow Mist quarter filter performs from Freewell compared to the bare lens. As you can see, it reduces the contrast and also makes skin tones a bit softer and blooms the highlights at the same time. Here is a better example. As you can see, my skin is significantly softer in here compared to here. And also if you look at the light, there is significantly more blooming happening with the light compared to this shot. And also look at my shirt. There's a bit less contrast, if you will. So if you want a softer look, maybe you should consider this kind of a filter for your Action 6. All right, so hopefully this video was useful and informative to you when it comes to deciding which filter should you get for your Action 6 from the filters I've compared today. I would say the worst one was the Telesin filter in terms of like overall performance. I also didn't like the case from the Telesin filter. And then the normal Freewell ND, the SmallRig and KNF NDs were almost the same in terms of like overall optical performance. Maybe SmallRig actually was cleaner than the others, but I wouldn't get the KNF filters only because you have to, screw them into the camera, which is significantly more annoying than just pushing the filter on the built-in lens of the camera. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.